Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Urban Links Africa online application support and Q&A session. This is one of the many webinars our team has been hosting over the summer to promote our open call and guide you in your application. You still have a month to polish your proposal, and we're here to help in this process. So my name is Nadia Eshihab. I am the Urban Links Africa project lead, and I'll be your host today. Next slide, please. So today's agenda will remind you of a few important steps about the open call. So share more about the process, the criteria, the challenges, and then we'll share with you 5 of the most frequently asked questions about the open call. And the team will be answering your questions live just after that. Next slide, please. And this is our fabulous Q&A panel. In the boys band today, we have Max Roach, our senior user researcher, Jeff Stevens, Urban Tech Team Lead, James Richards, coordinator of our Applied Data and Tech program, and Tom Lever, project manager of Urban Links Africa. Next slide, please. So first of all, let's recap a few important steps and things about the open call. We are asking innovative companies and organizations to propose solutions to one of the 7 identified challenges for our 6 cities. So in South Africa, the key challenges are the following. So for Cape Town, this is all about building resilience and informed settlements. In Johannesburg, we're looking for innovative solutions around sustainable mobility. And in Durban or eThekwini, we are looking for solutions around solid waste management and pollution. Next slide, please. In Kenya, we have a slightly different approach. Here, the 3 cities, Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu, have decided to have a joint approach to the challenges. So we have 4 challenges that all cities are welcoming solutions to. So these challenges are stormwater drainage and urban flooding. So how can we potentially have solutions that can help be better prepared when there is a flooding, and how can we warn populations at risk in a more agile way, for example? Another challenge is wastewater management. How can we identify sources of leakages, for example, and where they're going? Another challenge is about all solid waste management. And how about recycling different types of solid waste, and how can we segregate the different waste? And the last challenge is all about traffic management and active mobility. So how can we better manage the flow of population and motorized vehicles along the streets in these Kenyan cities? Next slide, please. Now, it's all about the criteria. So who can apply? All the partnerships must have the following components. So first, you have to have a lead partner based in the UK, and it has to be a UK registered SME, small and medium enterprises. Then you have to have your partners in Africa. So it's either a South African organization or a Kenyan organization. And here, the list of eligible organizations for the partnerships can be broader. So that you can be an NGO or an NPO. You can be an SME or a startup. You can also be a public sector organization, or even a large organization with data sets to provide to the partnership. But in all cases, you have to be in a partnership, an equitable partnership. This is a requirement of the funding. In terms of the challenges, it can either be a UK plus South African organization if you're addressing one of the 3 South African challenges, or if you're more interested in applying to propose solutions for the Kenyan ones, it has to be a partnership between a UK-based organization and a Kenyan-based organization. Okay, next slide, please. So what kind of solutions are we looking for here? Innovation can take many forms, but in this case, we are looking for digital solutions to the challenges we have outlined before. So we call these tier 1 and tier 2. So in tier 1, we are looking for early stage companies, typically startups, whose solutions is a concept or a novel idea. So something that do not exist yet on the market, something completely bespoke for the challenges in the 6 cities we are targeting. So for this, you are eligible to receive funding of up to 25,000 UK pounds. So this is tier 1. For tier 2, this is for more mature SMEs. So you have ideally experience in commercializing products and services. You have a technology that has been validated, but needs to be tweaked and adapted to an African city context. So you're eligible for up to 40,000 UK pounds for this type of solutions. If you're not sure about what tier you are, you can have a look at the website. We have tools to help you identify for which tier you are eligible to. Next slide, please. Now, how do you apply? This is the important part of today. So you have 2 routes to apply. The first one, if you have a partner already, you can apply directly and propose your application on a platform called F6S. So this is very straightforward. You have a few questions to answer with your partnerships. Now, if you don't have a partner, you are still eligible to apply, but you need to find a partner first. And for this, we have created another platform called B2Match, where you can sign in and find your partners online. So we really recommend that you create a profile. This is very easy and straightforward. All you need is to sign in with your email, and then you will be able to create a profile explaining what your company is doing. It's very easy, it doesn't take too much time, and then you'll have access to a database of other companies and organizations looking to find a match. So this is really, really important. I know some of you are still looking for partners, so we really recommend that you check out B2Match regularly and be proactive, start a chat, and find your partners online. If you're still finding difficulties here, the team is here to support. So do not hesitate to drop us an email, and we can help with the matchmaking as well. Once you have found your match on B2Match, you can then move on to F6S, just like for the first route, and submit your application with your partner. So you have until the 21st of August to apply, and that's the next slide. So you still have a little bit of time left, but yes, hurry up. Time is almost gone. But like I said, the team is here to support. There will be other sessions like this one to answer your questions live. Next slide, please. So now we're moving to the FAQ session of today. So we're going to run you through the 5 most frequently asked questions to the open call. Next slide, please. So one of the most frequently asked questions is, can a large organization, a large business, be part of a partnership and receive funding? So the answer to this question is, you can, as a large business or even a VC, be part of the partnerships. However, you cannot receive funding. The funding has been earmarked for smaller organizations. However, we do welcome your contribution if you would like to be part of the Urban Links Africa projects. You can propose your data sets, you can propose your services, and other types of support to the selected joint partnerships. So we really encourage you to contact us if you are interested. And if this is not through the joint partnerships, we are also welcome to answer your questions. So get in touch directly via email, and we can see where potentially your large business or VC can play a role in other parts of the projects. So now I'm going to ask the team to ask also to answer the following questions.
Hello, I'm Jeffrey. I'm the Urban Technology Lead here at the Catapult, and I will answer this question. So who will own the IP of the new solution created as part of the partnership? So one of the principles of this project is that we want to create equitable partnerships between UK and South African and Kenyan companies. And as such, we think that the IP would probably most likely be shared between the companies. Generally, we don't stipulate what the IP situation is. We are here to guide and might have some template documents available. But any IP which is already owned by companies coming to partnerships would remain theirs if that's what they want. And any new IP created as part of this competition, it's up to the SMEs to decide who owns that IP. We as the Catapult don't want to take any IP from this. That's not what we're here for. So it's up to the partnership to decide how the IP that's created as part of this is split.
Next question.
Good morning, everybody. I'm James. So this question is a very good one. How will my application be reviewed? Really important. It's going to be a 3-step process. So the first step is an eligibility check. That's very straightforward. It's to make sure that if an application comes through, we check that that application is eligible for the open call to begin with. So that's to double check things like, for example, that we do have a UK SME registered as part of the partnership, and that you fall into our tier 1 or tier 2 kind of classifications for the application, and that you've answered all the questions. So that's the first step, is eligibility check. The second step is the actual application review. So we will take the time to review your answers to the questions in the application. And then thirdly, the third step is an interview stage, where each partnership will be required to pre-record a short presentation that we will then review, and then we'll have a follow-up interview with the applicants to ask them questions and have a conversation around that video and around the wider application. So it's just kind of wrap that up. It's a 3-stage process. First, the eligibility check. Second is your initial application review, so your written answers. And then thirdly, we will then take forward a selection of applicants that we want to record a presentation and then ask them some further questions. And just a little bit on the scoring, because it's important too. We're going to score all applications throughout the process around kind of 5 different areas. That's innovation, impact, feasibility, business sustainability, and then also ODA compliance. So we want to make sure that all the applications are compliant. I would point everyone to the open call page on the Urban Link Africa website as well. If you go to the open call webpage, you will be able to download a project brief document. So this is a nice big document that takes you through all the required details. And there's a nice big section for more information and more detail around exactly what that judging process looks like. But hopefully that gives you a good idea.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Lever, the project manager on Urban Links Africa. This question is, can I submit more than one application, and if successful, receive funding for more than one partnership project? So if you're a UK SME and being the lead applicant on the partnership, then yes, you can submit more than one application. However, we will only fund the UK SME for one, if successful, for one project. If you are an African organisation, you can be part of more than one partnerships, and if more than one of those partnerships are successful, you will get funding. But the UK SMEs will only be funded as the lead partner for one successful application and one project.
We cannot hear you, Max. Okay. Shall we try to answer the question? So, how can an academic partner get involved in the Urban Links Africa project? So if you're an academic partner, you are welcome to be part of the project. So if you are an African-based academic, you are part of the eligible organization. If you are able to provide some skills, data sets, or services to one of the joint projects. If you're a UK-based academic partner, unfortunately, you're not eligible for funding. However, if you would like to still be researching or taking part to the joint partnership, we can take it on a case-by-case basis, but it will have to be at your own expenses. Right. I think we have been through all the most frequently asked questions. So now we're moving on to the live open Q&A session. So this is the moment when you can ask us all your questions about your applications. If you have any potential questions for us. So this is your moment. Please use the Q&A button at the bottom of this page. Do not use the chat, as we may not be able to check it out on time. So yes, please use the Q&A button. So we already have a first question from Gosha. So you have mentioned that you are looking for digital solutions. What do you mean by that? So I can start answering this question, and if Jeff wants to complement, please do not hesitate. So what we are looking for when we say digital solutions is, as you can imagine, this is we are launching this open call in a very peculiar time. This is during a global pandemic. So we're not able to tweak and have solutions that are hardware based. So this is why I said innovation can take many forms, but in this case, we'll be looking at digital solutions. So using digital technologies, online software, etc., to be able to continue the tweaking and the solution development in the next phase remotely.
Nadia, if I'm just going to just add a clause onto the back of that, which is to say that if your technology or your solution has an aspect of some hardware, so say, for example, you deal in sensors, for example, sensor type solutions, then I think that's absolutely fine. I think I think the most important thing is that if your solution is completely a hardware solution, then it's not quite right for our open call. But if there is some small amount of kind of hardware contribution, say in the case of kind of a sensor type solution, things like that, then absolutely that qualifies.
Thanks, James. Another question, this time from Siko. So is an extension of the application deadline probable at this point? So unfortunately, this is not going to be possible. I appreciate this is during summer and you've been all very busy, but we have a tight schedule and we have to announce all the winners of the open call by the end of August and early September. So unfortunately, an extension of the deadline is not possible. We have another question from Florence. Can an application be submitted which has two UK partner organizations which are both SMEs alongside a Kenya or South African partner as well? Is this a question for Tom, perhaps?
Yes, yeah, we would welcome an application with two UK SMEs. We obviously do review all the applications and as outlined in the project brief and the open call brief, we will review the applications on a kind of case-by-case basis. If they don't necessarily align with the kind of outline of the proposal, in that there's one UK partner and African partnerships. So submit the application and you just have to make the case of how the money will be distributed between the different lead partners, the UK partners and the African partners. But bear in mind the equitable partnership aspect of this, that there's a fair distribution of the project funding between the UK and African organisations taking part.
Thank you, Tom. We have another question from Siko. Where can we access previous webinars around the open call? I think James can answer this question.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly, but I can follow up with the links to any pre-recorded similar sessions that we've had. So absolutely, I can push out that to anyone who's interested. We do have those, certainly some of the sessions we've done recorded.
I really encourage everyone to have a look at the website, especially because it's soon going to change. We'll have a new, better, improved website. We have everything, every recorded webinars, especially also around, you know, the challenge descriptions, etc. The website is a mine of information, so really encourage you to have a look, browse through it, and you will find all the descriptions of the challenges and other webinars. We have another question. Is it okay to have a chat with someone to discuss the solution before applying? So perhaps, James, do you want to answer this question, or anyone in the panel?
Sure. So this is a really good question. And I don't think there's a hard and fast rule here. So of course we want to ensure that anyone asking support has more clarity around whether they are eligible. So we are very happy to support with kind of telling any organisation whether or not that they are the right fit for the application. What we cannot do is be kind of preferential to some applications over other applications, because we want to make sure that it's a fair application process. So I think, Gosha, if you want to follow up with an email to frankly test the eligibility around a solution, rather than kind of the details around the specific details of whether or not it would necessarily be a good solution, then please go ahead and email us. I understand that that's a bit of a grey area, but there's kind of no hard and fast rule here. We are very, though, happy to help to kind of sound out whether something is eligible for an application. Hopefully that's helpful.
Thanks, James. We have another question about where to find the application form and where to find, you know, links to B2Match. So I can answer this question, and this is all on our website, Urban Links Africa. And you have an open call page where you will find all the links you need to either access B2Match to find a partner, or the F6S platform to submit an application. We have also a guide for applicants. So this is just a downloadable document where you can have access to all the questions we'll be asking you in the application form, and some guidance as well as the another FAQ that is, you know, frequently refreshed and updated on the website. So again, check out the website. We have another question from Zablon. What happens when your new partner delays or fails to remit the implementation funds as per the project timelines?
I can answer this one.
Yeah.
So that's a good question. what we're doing is releasing the funding in 3 stages. So we will be funding the UK SME, and then there'll be subcontracts between the UK SME and the African partners. What we'll be doing is having review stages at each stage, and if it becomes apparent that funding isn't being transferred to the partners, we will be made aware of this because we'll have the review sessions with all the partners in the partnership. So we will be able to support the African partners if they're not being sent the funds, and if there are disputes between that, we'll try and help resolve what those disputes are. But obviously there'll be a legal agreement between yourself and the UK partner as well, but we'll be there to support and try and resolve any issues.
Thanks, Tom. We have another question from Sophie. So if the UK partner is the one receiving the funding and the partnership has to be equitable and new IP co-owned, then is there a requirement, expectation regarding the funding allocation between the partners according to responsibility taken? Is this a question? So I can answer part of the question. So yes, the UK organization, the UK SME is the recipient of the funding because this is a UK government funding. So we are funded by the GCRF, the Global Challenges and Research Fund in the UK. So this is a requirement of the funding, that the funding has to go through a UK-based organization. And then the UK partner has to contract the partner in either Kenya or South Africa. So the arrangement is this way. Now, there is also a question, another sub-question about IP. So an expectation about funding allocation. So would Tom want to say something about the allocated funding?
Yes, sure. So I think we'll obviously, once you submit your application, we'll have to review on a case-by-case basis kind of what each partner is bringing in terms of background IP, their contribution to the project in terms of resources, effort, and background IP. And then we will agree during the contracting phase how the requirement and expectation of the funding allocation falls based on responsibility. So initially, I think this has to be proposed between the partners, and then once we get into the contracting phase, if you're successful, we will work out the best way to share the funds based on the responsibility taken. But I think it will be done on a case-by-case basis based on the applications.
Thanks, Tom. We have a question from Jana. I know in some other innovation challenges, applications are posted live, can get feedback from reviewers, partners, other applicants to help co-create better applications through the process. Is this true for the ULA system as well? For example, is there a place to see the existing ideas and how we might fit into the mix? Is this a question for James, perhaps?
Yeah, sure. I'll give a go at answering this. So there is no formal support from us, kind of going back to my previous answer, around kind of evaluating application ideas throughout the process. But I would say that the B2 Match platform essentially becomes a form of that. You get to see short kind of bios of every organization that is on that platform, why they think they're right for a given partnership, and they give a flavor of exactly what they're offering. And so that B2 Match platform is not only a great place to find your end partner, but it's also a great place to kind of stimulate your ideas around what may make an interesting solution, product or service idea in response to the open call. So what I would say, Janet, is make sure that you're on B2 Match. And I would just kind of push everyone to have as many conversations as possible, because what we've seen in some of our other matchmaking events, for example, that people, when they talk to even other organizations that they didn't think were extremely relevant, actually it definitely got their ideas going, and they've even made partnerships out of that that they didn't think they would. So the short answer is no, there's no formal way of doing that, but B2Match is a great place to go to sound out ideas and talk to people about them.
Great. Thanks, James. We have another question. What are the anticipated project outcomes for successful applicants? Are these based on individual project outcomes or a specific technology readiness level? I can answer part of the questions. In terms of outcomes, what is expected? So for the tier 1 projects, so you know, the early stage companies with a concept or an idea that doesn't exist on the market yet, we are expecting these projects to end up in a prototype, typically. So, so at the end of the project in March 2021, we should have a prototype level outcome for these tier 1 projects. For the tier 2 projects, so the ones for the more mature SMEs with an existing technology that needs to be tweaked, we are expecting them to turn into ready to deploy solutions, typically. So in terms of TRLs, you asked a question about the TRLs. So for tier 1, obviously this is a low TRL, typically TRL 2, 3, and so if we expect the TRL the technology readiness level to progress by the time the project ends, so to end up in the prototype phase. And for the tier 2 ones, we expect the starting technology readiness level to be around 6, and then be progressed towards commercialize, something a bit more close to the market, so almost ready to be commercialized. I don't know if some of my colleagues want to add more on these questions, or if that was enough.
I think that was great.
Good. So we have another question from Richard. Will you be reviewing the B2Match registrations today, given the close proximity to the deadline?
So,
James, do you want to take
yeah,
this one?
I can just jump into that. So when it comes to B2Match registrations, we don't review those registrations. So I guess what we're most interested in is the applications that come in as full applications by the end of the deadline. So ULA, as kind of CPC, we're here to just help as much as possible in the meantime. So we of course look at the B2Match registrations to make sure people are coming into the platform, but that platform is for you guys and for you guys to find partners. So it's much more for you than us. We don't review them, but we still think there's plenty of time to make a strong relationship over that platform. And so yeah, we won't be kind of reviewing them, but please do sign up and just have as many conversations as possible with each other.
Yeah, and just to clarify, so the deadline, you still have a little bit of time. So the deadline for the open call to apply is the 21st of August. So you still have about 2-3 weeks now. It's plenty of time. Okay, let's take another question. So there's a question from Sebastian. So for successful tier 2 applicants, what is the deliverable Catapult expects from the project partners, regardless of solution? What does ready to deploy solution mean? Should we simply require marketing and activation for the product to go to market? There should be no additional development required. Maybe this one, Jeff, would like to take this one.
All right, I was just answering a question in the chat. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so what is the deliverable for tier 2 applicants? So regardless of the solution, what does ready to deploy means? Is this simply requiring marketing and activation for the product to go to market, or is there more additional development required?
So as this project is about creating equitable partnerships, it may be that you have a product ready as your own self as an SME, but perhaps we would expect you would need to do some further development to make sure that that product is a true partnership with the UK or South African or Kenyan SME that you're newly in partnership with. So we would expect that there is some development work required in order to finally take that to market. And ready to deploy could mean that you have a prototype that's, sorry, in tier 2 would mean that you have a product which is ready to deploy. And as you say, could involve that marketing and activation, but we would expect that you would need to do some development to make it an equitable partnership with your new partner.
Yeah, and there's all these developments about like making it commercially viable as well, locally. Selected joint partnerships will be accompanied, along the way by the Catapult team, but also a team of challenge ambassadors. So you may have heard about this. So we have recruited local experts in each of the challenges. So these people are full of knowledge about the local markets, the local challenges, and can help you fine-tune and tweak your solution so that it's really maximizing the chances of being deployed. We will also have a platform online, to allow different stakeholders selected through the open call to exchange with each other. So we will be here, in all the different steps once the joint technology partnerships are selected. Let's take another question. Will there be a round of funding or the 21st of August is the last chance to apply? I'm happy to answer that question. Gosha, the deadline to apply to the open call is the 21st of August, and there will be no other funding wave after this one. So we have only one open call, and so the only chance is this one. Great. And maybe just to wrap up, another few last questions. For example, we have a question from El Pereira asking about having a HQ in Johannesburg, and they have a satellite office in Cape Town. They would like to know if it is okay to apply even for a Cape Town challenge, even if they're based in Johannesburg. Obviously, as long as you are registered in South Africa, you are welcome to apply to all the South African challenges. If we have to have a preference, we would say that we would prefer local, so Cape Town-based solutions for Cape Town challenges, but this is not a mandatory. So if you're based in Johannesburg, you can still apply and you have a good chance as well.
Nadia, there was one more question that's now in the answer tab that I think might be helpful for people to hear, and Jeff answered it well in the chat. Is there an ultimate split ratio between successful South African and Kenyan applicants? Jeff, do you want to just run through your answer? I just think that's an important one for people to hear.
Yeah, our hope is that we can distribute the funding equally to partnerships involving UK and Kenyan, and partnerships involving UK and South African SMEs, so that we have a 50-50 split. But of course, that depends on the quality and the number of applications. It might go a little bit either way, but the plan is that that's roughly 50-50.
Thanks, Jeff. We have another question, open question from Jana. So many of the answers given about tier 2 are about the UK SME having a product that could be adapted to go to market in South Africa or Kenya. What about a South African SME having the more developed solution, partnering with the UK SME to access the funding to develop the marketing sales access further? Is this also expected, and does it qualify? Do one of my colleagues want to take this one?
I can jump in here. So I think that's absolutely fine. I think what we're most interested in on this project is making sure that there are really interesting solutions to challenges in African cities that can then go on to potentially be deployed successfully within African cities. And so I think we're less interested on the exact kind of the specific responsibility or who brings what to the partnership, and more interested at a partnership level that a solution is created that is really interesting and valuable and then can then be deployed in an African city. So we're less interested about who brings what and more interested at that application level, that together you can use skills and or resources from a UK SME and an African organization so that the solution is excellent and is really valuable for deployment.
Yeah, and just to complement, so Jana, yes, this is totally eligible, absolutely, as long as this is an equitable partnership. So there has to be something brought by each partner that is valuable and meaningful. We have another question, open question. So is there a scoring criteria which you use to evaluate projects, which you can share with potential bidders so we can test the strength of our proposal? James, do you want to answer this?
Yeah, this is great. These are all really good questions. So yes, the answer is yes. So each application will, in the application review stage, be scored from 0 to 5 on the kind of 5 areas that I previously mentioned, which is innovation, impact, feasibility, ODA compliance, and business sustainability. As I mentioned earlier, if you go to the open call section of the website, which I encourage everyone to do, then you will see a button to download a full project brief document, which is a really valuable document. If you then scroll down, you will see a whole section dedicated to the judging and the criteria that we'll use. So for more information, please head to the website. It breaks it down in far more detail.
Great, thanks, James. I think it's worth also mentioning, who is going to review your proposals? So we are going to gather a judging panel at the end of August to review all the applications. So this judging panel is going to be composed of different representatives from the city themselves. So we'll have city representatives assessing especially the ones addressing their own challenges. There will be catapult people, obviously, but also external reviewers. So different people with skill sets from the business side to the more the challenge ambassadors as well, and other representatives from the value chain. So this is how we intend to evaluate your proposals. And I think we have run out of questions. So unless you still have more open questions, I think we are coming to the end of this session. Right. Okay, so thank you everyone for participating today and all these very good questions. So I hope we managed to answer them. And if you still have any other questions, please don't hesitate to send them to us via email. What are the next steps now? So for those of you who are still looking for a partner, please go and sign up to Beat to Match. This is really important, as we have stressed today. You can find a lot of information about potential other organizations looking for partners, project ideas. Get in touch. Yeah. And once you have the partners, or if you already have them, you need to apply for the open call. And this is on a different platform called F6S. And so this is the questions that we are answering you and how you plan to propose solutions to the challenges. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Next slide. Yes, before we go, there will be another session like this one on Monday, the 17th of August. So we will have another online application support and Q&A session. So please do check out the link below to register if you still have more questions. And also the website, again, like I said, this is regularly refreshed and updated, especially the FAQs. So after today's session, we will take all your questions and put them online with all the answers we've given to you. Next slide, please. And those are another very useful links. So again, we really refer you to the project brief. This is where you find all the answers to your questions. So from the application questions to the challenges, the links, the FAQ page, and how to email us. So please have a look again, and that's it.
Right.
So thank you very much, everyone. This is the end of this session. Follow us on social media and get in touch if you have any other question. We have a LinkedIn group and a Twitter to get in touch. Thank you to the panel as well. Yeah, see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.